Winter on a homestead can be a tough time with freezing temperatures, bad weather, and limited daylight. For me, the dark months are always the hardest season, and I'm already looking forward to spring. Even though life slows down in winter, it doesn't stop entirely. While we have fewer animals and our garden isn't producing much, exciting things are still happening, especially for our sheep, who've brought us new lambs and fresh milk. First off, our turkeys moved inside in the fall and will now stay there until spring. It is not ideal to have them inside, but the reason for this was that they would often escape the enclosure by flying over the fence, and this led to two turkeys being caught by a fox. Also, they don't like being outside in the snow anyways. Therefore, they are inside now and safe, and will be outside again once we can make a safe enclosure in the spring. In the fall, I also simplified my quail groups for the winter, and now only have two, one in my outside and one in my inside aviary. This is because I am at university from Monday to Thursday or Friday, and I'm only at home on the weekends and holidays. During this time, when I'm at university, my mom takes care of all of my birds, so we agreed to two groups so that her workload would be less. Quails normally stop laying eggs in October, but we still like having some eggs in the winter. So after they had a 2-month break from laying eggs, we decided to put some younger quails in the inside aviary and give them additional light in December. Now we have a handful of eggs every day to add to our diet. Next up, we got another runner duck. A few months ago, we gave my grandparents 3 drakes to have in their garden for slug control. One sadly got caught by a fox, and then they had 2 left. Recently, a neighbor of them gave them a female duck, and now my grandmother was worried the 2 drakes would start fighting over the female in the spring, so we simply returned one of the drakes back home. The most interesting things, in my opinion, have happened with our sheep. In total, we welcomed 8 lambs from autumn to winter. The first sheep to give birth was our milk sheep, which was especially nice because we were able to start milking again not long after. A few weeks later, our second milk sheep got her first ever lamb. Everything went fine so far, but it has been quite a challenge to get her used to being milked. She is still a little unsettled when milking, but it definitely has improved already. Only a day later, one of our other sheep lambed as well. She got 2 lambs and abandoned one of them. It seems like she always does this when she has 2 lambs, since this has happened before. But unlike last time, it was no problem this year to just bottle feed the lamb and did not struggle or was weak like the last one. The first few days the lamb was inside our garage to make it easier to feed him in the night and to protect him from bad weather. Especially in the first night, he had to be fed every 2 hours with colostrum milk, which is very important for young lambs. But this was no problem, and soon after he was already back outside with the other sheep. Over the course of a few weeks, we gradually declined the times he was fed and eventually stopped.
So. So nice. Jetzt geht er wieder zurück.
And then, last but not least, our last 2 sheep got the lambs. We were not sure if they would even get any, since these 2 struggled a little bit from worms in the summer. But apparently this was no problem, and now they have 3 healthy lambs. In the fall and the winter time, when the sheep aren't on green pasture, it is no problem with the worms anyway, so everything is fine now. We have a lot of sheep now, and since we do not have that much pasture, my mom decided it is best to sell some. Especially because we put a focus on milk sheep now, we are not able to have as many other sheep for meat and wool too. So we are selling the 2 sheep who last got the lambs with the little ones. If I'm being honest, I'm a little sad about selling these 2 sheep, because one of them was one of our first sheep and the other one actually was one of the first lambs we ever had, so I got pretty close with her, and they are both very friendly, very tame. And although I do understand why we have to sell them now, I will still miss these two. I did a homestead tour for my last video, and if you watched it, you might have seen that not much is growing in our garden right now, apart from the foil tunnel. In here, my mom managed to grow some greens in the middle of winter to eat, and partly to feed our rabbits.